Hello, good morning, students. So, the next topic of chapter Physical and Chemical Change is changes involve energy. Okay. So, in this, what's written in your book that if any change involved, energy is either absorbed or evolved. So, on the basis of energy absorbed or evolved, we can classify this in two processes, that is exothermic and endothermic. See, this energy absorbed or evolved, it may be formed in the form of heat, light, electricity or sound energy. In this form only, energy either absorbed or evolved. So, if energy is absorbed in any chemical reaction, we call it endothermic process or change. And if any process or change in which heat evolved, we call that process or change exothermic change. So, endothermic change means, I hope you understand that, whenever heat is absorbed. So, what are the example of this? Evaporation of water. Evaporation, how evaporation occurs? It takes heat from surrounding and evaporates. Water take heat from surrounding and evaporate. That means heat is absorbed by the substance. So, that process is endothermic. Then what is the example of exothermic? Burning of fuel. If any fuel is burning, that means heat is released. Suppose if carbon is burning, carbon in the form of coal is burning, then you all know that heat is evolved. It gives heat, a lot of heat. So, in that process, heat is evolved and that process is exothermic process, or that change is exothermic change. 2 or 3 points just see here, that we know that energy cannot be created or destroyed. Okay, we cannot create energy or destroy energy. It can only be changed from one form to another form. And in all chemical reaction, energy is involved in the form of heat, light, electricity or sound. Now, energy change has taken place when there is a rise or drop in temperature to the surroundings. And just now we have studied that two types of energy change, that is exothermic and endothermic. Exothermic changes, just now I told you that exothermic change is a change in which heat is given out to the surroundings. And when it occurs, heat is released from the reactant and transferred to the surrounding. Then the temperature of the reaction mixture rises and the container feels warmer. Okay. So, one example is there in your book, activity number 2. That to show that when water is added to quicklime, heat is evolved. See, if you take beaker and a quicklime and you add small quantity of quicklime in a dry beaker and then you pour water into it, what you will find? You will find that a lot of heat is evolved. So, after a few minutes, water over quicklime even starts boiling. So, in this case, we conclude and we can see that during the interaction between water and quicklime, energy in the form of heat is evolved. Okay. Now, endothermic change. What is this change? Endothermic change, it is a change in which heat is absorbed from the surrounding. In this change, what occurs? heat is absorbed and transferred from the surrounding to the reactant. The temperature of the reaction mixture falls and the container feels cooler. Two examples are given. Now, when ammonium chloride or urea is dissolved in water, energy is absorbed by the surrounding, from the surrounding. Then evaporation also causes cooling. We know that evaporation causes cooling. How? Because during evaporation, liquid absorbs heat from the surrounding. Hence, cooling sensation we can feel. Now, activity 3 you can see here. When ammonium chloride is dissolved in water, heat is absorbed. How we can do this experiment? You have to take ammonium chloride and test tube. Then you have to fill that test tube to 1/3 of water and you feel its temperature. Now what you will do, you dissolve about 10 grams of ammonium chloride into test tube. Now again you feel temperature of the test tube. You will feel that the test tube becomes colder. Why this happens? This happens because the energy needed for the dissolution of ammonium chloride is taken from the surrounding. Dissolution means ammonium chloride is dissolved in water, so that amount of energy needed for the ammonium chloride to dissolve in water is taken from the surrounding. This is why from the test tube and water, that is from the test tube and water in this case. So that is why ammonium chloride is dissolved in water and heat is absorbed to this reaction. So I hope you understand this activity. Now we are going to start our next topic, that is conditions favoring a chemical change. See, some certain condition favors a chemical change and you have some points which will tell you that these are the conditions which favor chemical change. So the first point is contact between the reacting substance. See, all the chemical reactions are examples of chemical change. So first condition is contact between the reacting substance. So when the reactants come in close contact, it will react. So we have to place the substance nearer. We have to place that in contact. Then only any chemical change occur. So for a chemical change to occur, the reacting substances should be brought in contact. Okay. So then the second point is medium. See, many chemical changes need medium, like water. Okay. Like for example, it's given that baking powder, that is sodium bicarbonate and tartaric acid, these compounds do not react in dry powder form. So see, when you dissolve this substance in water, a vigorous reaction between the two takes place. But when this is in powder form, the reaction doesn't take place. So any chemical reaction require a medium. In this case, it requires water to react. Then the third point is heat. Some chemical change occur only on heating. Like in your book, example is given that iron powder and sulfur, if you mix it, it will not react. Then when this mixture, if you supply heat to it, it will react and form into iron sulfide and changes into iron sulfide. So in this reaction, heat, you have to supply heat for this reaction to occur. In this example, you can see in the screen, when sulfur is heated in air, it changes to sulfur dioxide. The reaction or chemical change that takes place is written as, you see here, S plus O2 gives out SO2. So when the reactants are heated, these things are formed. Then light. Certain chemical reaction taking place only in the presence of light. Like photosynthesis is a very good example where you can easily understand about this condition, light, that photosynthesis in green plants takes place only in the presence of sunlight. We have studied this, that photosynthesis in green plants takes place in the presence of sunlight. Then the next condition is photography. Photography is based on the effect of light on the chemicals coated on the photographic plate. So this is also a condition where chemical reaction takes place. Then the next condition is electricity. Some chemical changes can be brought with the help of electricity. If you supply electricity to a certain chemical reaction, then only that reaction takes place. So for example, when you pass electricity through acidulated water, it decomposes into hydrogen and oxygen. Then the next condition is pressure. When you increase pressure, it may also lead to a chemical change. Like crackers explode when struck with a hammer. So in that also chemical reaction takes place. And the last condition is catalyst. Catalyst, you know, that which increases the rate of reaction. Suppose any chemical reaction is not takes place at that faster rate, then if you introduce a catalyst into that chemical reaction, it takes place at a faster rate. So the presence of a suitable catalyst increases the rate of reaction. For example, what's given? The rate of decomposition of potassium chlorate increases, that is KClO2, increases when manganese dioxide, MnO2, is mixed with potassium chlorate. The catalyst, manganese dioxide, remains unchanged after the reaction. You have studied this, I think, you will study this reaction after in chapter, I think, 5 or 6. Okay, so here we conclude that these are the conditions of which favors a chemical change. Now you can see, so till now we have studied that there are many changes and we have classified those changes. Then what are the chemical changes we have studied? What are differences between physical and chemical changes we have studied? And here in the last topic we have studied that change, if change is evolved, we call that exothermic change, and if change is absorbed, we call that change endothermic change. So here we finish this chapter. Read, just go through it, read it, and if any queries or any problem is there, you ask me. Thank you.